Genesis chapter 11, the Tower of Babel. Now the whole earth spoke one language and used the same words, the same vocabulary. And as people journeyed eastward, and they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they settled there, they said to one another,
Come, let us make bricks and fire them thoroughly in a kiln to harden and strengthen them.
So they used the bricks for stone as a building material, and they used tar, which is bitumen or asphalt, for mortar. They also said,
Come, let us build a city for ourselves, in a tower whose top will reach into the heavens, and let us make a famous name for ourselves, so that we will not be scattered into separate groups and be dispersed over the surface of the entire earth, as Elohim had instructed.
Now Elohim came down to see the city and the tower in which the sons of men had built. And Elohim had said,
Behold, they are one unified people, and they all have the same language. This is only the beginning of what they will do in rebellion against me. And now, no evil thing they imagine they can do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and there confuse and mix up their language, so that they will not understand one another's speech.
So Elohim scattered them abroad from over the surface of the entire earth, and they stopped building the city. Therefore the name of the city was Babel, because Elohim had confused the language of the entire earth. And from that place Elohim scattered and dispersed them all over the surface of all the earth. These are the records of the generations of Shem, from whom Abraham descended. Shem was 100 years old when he became the father of Arpachshad, 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived 500 years after Arpachshad was born, for he had other sons and daughters. When Arpachshad had lived 35 years, he became the father of Shelah. Arpachshad lived 403 years after Shelah was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he became the father of Eber. Shelah lived 403 years after Eber was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years, he became the father of Peleg. And Eber lived 430 years after Peleg was born, and he had other sons and daughters. And Peleg, when he had lived 30 years, he became the father of Reu. And Peleg lived 209 years after Reu was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Reu had lived 32 years, he became the father of Serug. And Reu lived 207 years after Serug was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Serug had lived 30 years, he became the father of Nahor. And Serug had lived 200 years after Nahor was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he became the father of Terah. And Nahor lived 119 years after Terah was born, and he had other sons and daughters. After Terah had lived 70 years, he became the father of Abram, and Nahor, and Haran his firstborn. Now these are the records of the descendants of Terah. Terah was the father of Abram, whose name would be changed to Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran was the father of Lot. Haran died before his father Terah, in the land of his birth, in Ur of the Chaldeans. Abram and Nahor took wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, which was later be called Sarah. And the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Ishka. But Sarai was barren, and she did not have children. Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son, Abram's wife. And they went out together to go from Ur of the Chaldeans into the land of Canaan. But there they came to Haran, about 550 miles northwest of Ur, and they settled there. Terah lived 205 years, and Terah died in the land of Haran. Now in Haran, Elohim had appeared to Abram and said,
Go away from your country, and from your relatives, and from your father's house, to the land which I will show you. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you abundantly, and make your name great, exalted, distinguished. You shall be a blessing, a source of great good to others. And I will bless, do good for, benefit those who bless you. And I will curse, that is, subject to my wrath and judgment, the one who curses, despises, dishonors, has contempt for you. And in you all the families, nations of the earth will be blessed.
So Abram departed in faithful obedience unto Elohim had directed him, and Lot his nephew left with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his nephew, and all their possessions in which they acquired, and the people, the servants, in which they had acquired in Haran, and they set out to go to the land of Canaan. When they came to the land of Canaan, Abram passed through the land as far as the site of Shittim, to the great terebinth, the oak tree of Moreh. Now the Canaanites were in the land at that time. Then Elohim appeared unto Abram and said,
I will give this land to your descendants.
So Abram built an altar there to honor Elohim, who had appeared unto him. Then he moved on from there to the mountain of the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar unto Elohim, and called the name of Elohim, and worship through prayer, praise, and thanksgiving. Then Abram journeyed on, continuing toward Negev, the south country of Judah. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to live temporarily, for the famine in the land was oppressive and severe. And when he was about to enter into Egypt, he said to Sarai, his wife,
Listen, I know that you are a beautiful woman. So when the Egyptians see you, they will say, This is his wife, and they will kill me to acquire you. But they will let you live. Please, tell them you are my sister, so that things will go well for me, for your sake. But my life will be spared because of you.
Pharaoh's princes, his officials, also saw her and praised her unto Pharaoh. And the woman was taken for the purpose of marriage into Pharaoh's house. Therefore, Pharaoh treated Abram well for her sake. He acquired sheep, oxen, and male and female donkeys, male and female servants and camels. But Elohim punished Pharaoh and his household with severe plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Then Pharaoh called Abram and said,
What is this you have done? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her as my wife? Now then, here's your wife. Take her and go.
So Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they escorted him on his way, with his wife and all that he had. Genesis chapter 13. Abram and Lot separate. So Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot his nephew went with him into Negev, the south country of Judah. Now Abram was extremely rich in livestock, and in silver and in gold. He journeyed on from Negev as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been in the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, where he had first built an altar. And there Abram called on the name of Elohim in prayer. But Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents. Now the land was not able to support them, that is, sustain all their grazing, their water needs, while they lived near one another, for their possessions were too great for them to stay together. There was strife, quarreling between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. Now the Canaanite, the Perizzite, living in the land at the same time, making grazing of livestock very difficult. So Abram said to Lot,
Let there be no strife and disagreement between you and me, nor between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, because we are relatives. Is not the entire land before you? Please separate yourself from me. If you take the left, then I will go to the right. Or if you choose the right, then I will go to the left.
So Lot looked and saw the valley of the Jordan was well watered everywhere. This was before Elohim had destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. It was all like the garden of Elohim, like the land of Egypt, as you go to Zoar at the south end of the Dead Sea. Then Lot chose for himself all the valley of the Jordan, and he traveled east. So they separated from each other. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, and Lot settled in the cities of the valley and camped as far as Sodom and lived there. But the men of Sodom were extremely wicked and sinful against Elohim, unashamed in their open sin before him. Then Elohim said to Abram after Lot had left him,
Now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are standing, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, I will give to you and to your descendants forever. I will make your descendants as numerous as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could count the grains of the dust of the earth, then your descendants could also be counted. Arise, walk, make a thorough reconnaissance around in the land, through its length and its width, for I will give it to you.
Then Abram broke camp, moved his tent, came and settled by the grove of the great terebinths, the oak trees of Mamre the Amorite, which are in Hebron, and there he built an altar to honor Elohim. Genesis chapter 14. Abraham rescues Lot. In the days of the eastern kings, Amraphel of Shinar, Arioch of Elasar, Chedorlaomer of Elam, and Tidal of Goyim, they invaded the Jordan near the valley of the Dead Sea, and made war with Bera, king of Sodom, Birsha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. All these kings joined together as allies in the battle of Siddim, that is the Sea of Salt. 12 years they had served Chedorlaomer, the most powerful king in the invading confederacy. But in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the 3 kings who were with him attacked and subdued the Rephaim in Eshtaroth and Karnaim, the Zuzim in Ham, and Emim and Shaveth Kirithaim, and the Horites in their mountainous country of Seir, as far as El Paran, which is on the border of the wilderness. Then they turned back and came to En Mizpah, that is Kadesh, and subdued all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who lived in Hazazon Tamar. Then the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Bela, that is Zoar, came out, and they joined together for the battle with the invading kings in the valley of Siddim, against Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and as the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, they fell into them. But the remainder of the kings who survived fled into the hill country. Then the victors took all the possessions of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their food supply and provisions, and left. And they also took captive Lot, Abraham's nephew, and his possessions, and they left, for he was living in Sodom. Then a Savior who had escaped from the invading forces of the other side of the Jordan came and told Abram the Hebrew. Now he was living by the terebinths, the oaks of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner. They were allies of Abram. When Abram heard that his nephew Lot had been captured, he armed and led out his trained men, born in his own house, numbering 318, and went in pursuit as far north as Dan. He divided his forces against them by night. He and his servants attacked and defeated them, and pursued them as far as Hobah, just north of Damascus. He brought back all the goods, and also brought back his nephew Lot, his possessions, and also the women and the people. Then after Abram's return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, that is, the king's valley. Melchizedek, king of Salem, ancient Jerusalem, brought out bread and wine for him, and he was the priest of the Most High. And Melchizedek blessed Abram and said, Blessed, joyful, and favored is Abram by the Most High, the creator and possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed, praised, and glorified be the Most High, who has given your enemies into your hand. And Abram gave him a tenth of all the treasure he had taken from the battle. The king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people, and keep the goods, the spoils of the battle for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom,
I have raised my hand and sworn an oath to Elohim Most High, the creator and possessor of heaven and earth, that I would not take anything that is yours, from a thread to a sandal strap, so that you cannot say, I, the king of Sodom, have made Abram rich. I will take nothing except what my young men have eaten, and share the spoils belonging to the men, my allies, who went with me, Aner, Esker, Murmur. Let them take their share of the spoils.
Genesis chapter 15. The Most High's covenant with Abram. After these things, the word of the Most High came to Abram in a vision, saying,
Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward for obedience shall be very great.
Abram said,
Most High, what reward will you give me, since I'm leaving this world childless? And he who will be owner and heir of my house is his servant Eliezer from Damascus.
And Abram continued,
Since you have given no child to me, a servant born in my house, is my heir.
Then, behold, the word of the Most High came to him, saying,
This man, Eliezer, will not be your heir, but he who shall come from your own body shall be your heir.
And the Most High brought Abram outside his tent into the night and said,
Look now toward the heavens and count the stars, if you are able to count them.
Then he said to him,
So numerous shall your descendants be.
Then Abram believed in, affirmed, trusted in, relied on, remained steadfast to the Most High. And he counted and credited to him as righteousness, doing right in regard to Elohim and man. And he said to him,
I am the same Elohim who brought you out of Ur, the Chaldeans, to give you this land as an inheritance.
But Abram said,
Elohim, by what proof will I know that I will inherit it?
So the Most High said to him,
Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, a young pigeon.
So Abram brought all these two, cut them down in the middle, laid each half opposite of each other. But he did not cut the birds. The birds of prey swooped down on the carcasses, but Abram drove them away. When the sun was setting, a deep sleep overcame Abram, and a horror, a terror, a shuddering fear, a nightmare of great darkness overcame him. The Most High said to Abram,
Know for sure that your descendants will be strangers, living temporarily in the land of Egypt, that is not theirs. where they would be enslaved and oppressed for 400 years. But on that nation your descendants will serve, I will bring judgment, and afterward they will come out of that land with great possessions. As for you, you shall die and go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried in a good old age. Then, in the 4th generation, your descendants shall return here to Canaan, the land of promise, for the wickedness and the guilt of the Amorites is not yet complete, which is finished.
When the sun had gone down and a deep darkness had come, there appeared a smoking brazier and a flaming torch which passed between the divided pieces of the animal. On that same day, the Most High made a covenant, a promise, and a pledge with Abram, saying,
To your descendants I have given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates, the land of the Canaanites, and the Kenizzites, and the Kadmonites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaim, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had not borne him any children, and she had an Egyptian maid whose name was Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram,
See here, the Most High has prevented me from bearing children. I am asking you to go into the bed of my maid, so that she may bear you a child. Perhaps I will obtain children by her.
And Abram listened to Sarai and did as she said. After Abram had lived in the land of Canaan 10 years, Abram's wife, Sarai, took Hagar, the Egyptian maid, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his secondary wife. He went into the bed of Hagar, and she conceived. And when she realized that she had conceived, she looked with contempt on her mistress, regarding Sarai as insignificant because of her infertility. Then Sarai said to Abram,
May the responsibility for the wrong done to me by the arrogant behavior of Hagar be upon you. I gave my maid into your arms, and when she realized that she had conceived, I was despised and looked on with disrespect. May the Most High judge who has done right between you and me.
But Abram said to Sarai,
Look, your maid is entirely in your hands and subject to your authority. Do as you please with her.
So Sarai treated her harshly and humiliated her, and Hagar fled from her. But the angel of Yah found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, on the road to Egypt by way of Shur. And he said to her, Hagar, Sarah's maid, where did you come from and where are you going? She said,
I am running away from my mistress, Sarah.
Then the angel of Yah said to her, I will greatly multiply your descendants so that you will be many to count. The angel of the Most High continued, Behold, you are with child, and you will bear a son, and you shall name him Ishmael, which means the Most High hears, because the Most High has heard and paid attention to your persecution, your suffering. He, Ishmael, will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against every man, continually fighting, and every man's hand against him, and he will dwell in defiance of all his brothers. Then she called the name of the Most High who spoke to her.
You are the Most High, who sees.
She said,
Have I not even here in the wilderness remained alive after seeing him, who sees me with understanding and compassion?
Therefore, the well was called Bir Ishai Roe, which means well of the living one who sees me. It is between Kadesh and Beri. So Hagar gave birth to Abram's son, and Abram named his son, to whom Hagar gave birth, Ishmael, which means the Most High hears. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar gave birth to Ishmael. Genesis chapter 17. Abraham and the covenant of the circumcision. When Abram was 99 years old, the Most High appeared to him and said,
I am the Almighty. Walk habitually before me with integrity, knowing that you are always in my presence, and be blameless and complete in obedience to me. I will establish my covenant my everlasting promise between me and you. And I will multiply you exceedingly through your descendants.
Then Abram fell on his face and worshipped, and the Most High spoke with him, saying,
As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and as a result, you shall be the father of many nations. No longer shall you be named Abram, the exalted father, but your name shall be Abraham, father of the multitude, for I will make you the father of many nations. I will make you exceedingly faithful, and I will make your nations of you, and kings will come from you. I will establish my covenant between me, you, your descendants after you, throughout their generations, as an everlasting covenant, to be Elohim to you and your descendants after you. I will give to you and your descendants after you the land in which you are a stranger, moving from place to place, all the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession of property, and I will be their Elohim. Further,
Elohim said to Abraham,
as for you, your part of the agreement, you shall keep and faithfully obey the terms of my covenant, you and your descendants after you throughout their generations. This is the sign of my covenant, that you shall keep and faithfully obey between me and you and your descendants after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised, and you shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskins. And there shall be a sign, a symbol, a memorial of the covenant between me and you. Every male among you who is 8 days old shall be circumcised throughout their generations, including a servant, whether born in the house or one who is purchased with your money from a foreigner. For it is not your descendants. And the male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that person shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant.
Then Elohim said to Abraham,
As for Sarai, your wife, you shall not call her name Sarai, which means my princess, but her name will be Sarah, which means princess. I will bless her, and indeed I will also give you a son by her. Yes, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people will come from her.
Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed and said in his heart,
Shall a child be born to a man that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bear a child?
And Abraham said to the Most High,
Oh, that Ishmael, my firstborn, might live before you.
But Elohim said,
No, Sarah your wife shall bear you a son indeed, and you shall name him Isaac, which means laughter. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his descendants after him. As for Ishmael, I have heard and listened to you. But behold, I will bless him, make him fruitful, and will greatly multiply him through his descendants. He will be the father of 12 princes, the chieftains, the chiefs, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant, my promise, my solemn pledge, I will establish with Isaac and Sarah will bear to you at the next time this year.
And the Most High finished speaking with him and went up from Abraham. Then Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all his servants who were born in his house, and all who were purchased with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's household, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin the very same day, as Most High had said to him. So Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised, and Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised. On the very same day, Abraham was circumcised, as well as Ishmael his son. All the men, the servants of his household, both those who were born in the house and those purchased with money from a foreigner, were circumcised along with them, as the sign of Elohim's covenant with Abraham. Genesis chapter 18. Now the Most High appeared to Abraham by the terebinth trees, the Mamre in Hebron, while he was sitting at the tent door in the heat of the day. When he had raised his eyes and looked up, behold, 3 men were standing a little distance from him. When he saw them, he hurried up and ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. And Abraham said,
My master, if now I have found favor in your sight, please do not pass by your servant without stopping to visit. Please, let a little water be brought by one of my servants, and you may wash your feet and recline and rest comfortably under the tree. And I will bring a piece of bread to refresh and sustain you. After that, you may go on, since you have come to your servant.
They replied,
Do as you have said.
So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah and said,
Quickly, get ready 3 measures of fine meal, kneaded and baked cakes.
Abraham also ran to the herd and brought a calf, tender and choice. He gave it to the servants, to the butcher, and he hurried to prepare it. Then he took curds and milk, and the calf which was prepared, and set it before the men, and he stood beside them under the tree while they ate. Then they said to him,
Where is Sarah your wife?
He said,
There, in the tent.
He said,
I will surely return to you at this time next year, and behold, Sarah your wife will have a son.
And Sarah was listening at the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in years. She was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah laughed to herself when she heard the master's word, saying,
After I become old, shall I have pleasure and delight in my master being also old?
And the Most High asked Abraham,
Why did Sarah laugh to herself, saying, Shall I really give birth to a child when I am so old? Is anything too difficult or too wonderful for the master? At the appointed time, when the season for her delivery comes, I will return to you, and Sarah will have a son.
Then Sarah denied it, saying,
I did not laugh.
because she was afraid. And he, the master, said,
No, but you did laugh.
Then the men got up from there and looked toward Sodom. And Abraham walked with them to the tent to send them on their way. Then the Most High said,
Shall I keep secret from Abraham, my friend and servant, what I'm going to do? Since Abraham is destined to become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. For I have known, I have chosen, I have acknowledged him as mine, so that he may teach and command his children and the sons of his household after to keep the way of the Most High, by doing what is righteous and just, so that the master may bring upon Abraham what he has promised him.
and the Most High said,
The outcry of the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah is indeed great, and their sin is exceedingly great. I will go down now and see whether they have acted as vilely and wickedly as the outcry which has come to me indicates. If not, I will know.
Now the 2 men, the angelic beings, turned away from there and went toward Sodom. But Abraham remained standing before the Most High. Abraham approached the Most High and said,
Will you really sweep away the righteous? Those who do right with the wicked? Those who do evil? Suppose there are 50 righteous people within the city. Will you really sweep away and not spare it for the sake of 50 righteous who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to strike down the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous and the wicked be treated alike? Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right by executing just and righteous judgment?
So the Most High said,
If I find within the city of Sodom and Gomorrah 50 righteous people, then I will spare the entire place for their sake.
Abraham answered,
Now behold, I, who am but dust and ashes, have decided to speak to the Most High. If 5 of the 50 righteous are lacking, will you destroy the entire city for the lack of 5?
The Most High said,
If I find at least 45 righteous people there, I will not destroy it.
Abraham spoke to him again and said,
Suppose only 40 are found there.
and the Most High said,
I will not do to it for the sake of the 40 who are righteous.
Then Abraham said to the Most High again,
Oh, may my master not be angry. And I will speak. Suppose 30 righteous people are found there.
and the Most High said,
I will not do to it if I find 30 there.
Then Abraham said again,
Now behold, I have decided to speak to the master again. Suppose only 20 righteous people are found there.
and the Most High said to him,
I will not destroy it for the sake of the 20.
Then Abraham said again,
Oh, may not the master be angry with me, and I will speak only this once. Suppose 10 righteous people are found there.
and the Most High said,
I will not destroy it for the sake of the 10.
As soon as he had finished speaking with Abraham, the Most High departed, and Abraham returned to his own place. Genesis chapter 19. The Most High rescues Lot. It was evening when the two angels came to Sodom. Lot was sitting at Sodom city gate. Seeing them, Lot got up to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. He said, See here, my masters. Please turn aside and come into your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may get up early and go on your way. But they said,
No, we shall not spend the night in the open plaza of the city.
However, Lot strongly urged them, so they turned aside and entered his house. He prepared a feast for them with wine and baked unleavened bread, and they ate it. But before they lay to sleep, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house, all the men from every quarter. And they called out to Lot and said, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we may lay with them intimately. But Lot went out to the doorway to the men and shut the door after him and said, Please, my brothers, do not do something so wicked. See here, I have two daughters who have not known a man intimately. Please, let me bring them out to you instead, and you can do whatever you please with them. Only do nothing to these men, because they have in fact come under the shelter of my roof for protection. But they said, Get out of the way. And they said, This man Lot came as an outsider to live temporarily, and now he acts like a judge. Now we will treat you worse than your visitors. So they rushed forward and pressed violently against Lot and came close to breaking down the doors of his house. But the angels reached out with their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door after him. But they punished the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, from the young men to the old men, so that they exhausted themselves trying to find the doorway. And the two angels asked Lot,
Have you any others here in Sodom, a son-in-law, and your sons and your daughters, whom you have here in the city? Take them out of here. For we are destroying this place because of the outcry for judgment against them has grown so great before the Most High, that the Most High has sent us to destroy and ruin it.
So Lot went out and spoke to his son-in-laws, who were betrothed and legally promised to marry his daughters, and said, Get up, get out of this place, for the Most High is about to destroy this city. But to his son-in-laws, he appeared to be a joke. When morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying,
Get up, take your wife and your two daughters who are here and go, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city.
But Lot hesitated and lingered. The men took hold of his hand and the hand of his wife and the hands of his two daughters, because the Most High was merciful to him for Abraham's sake. And they brought him out and left him outside the city within his family. When they had brought them outside, one of the angels said,
Escape for your life. Do not look back or stop anywhere in the entire valley. Escape to the mountains of Moab, or you will be consumed and swept away.
But Lot said to them, "Oh no, not this place, my masters. Please listen. Your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have magnified your loving kindness, your mercy to me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains because the disaster will overtake me and I will be killed. Now look, this town in the distance is near enough to us to flee to, and it is small with only a few people. Please, let me escape there. Isn't it not that small? So that my life be saved?" And the angel said to him,
Behold, I grant you this request also. I will not destroy this town of which you have spoken. Hurry and take refuge there, for I cannot do anything to punish Sodom until you arrive there.
For this reason, the town was named Zoar, few and small. The sun had risen over the earth when Lot came to Zoar. Then the Most High rained down brimstone, flaming sulfur, and fire upon Sodom and Gomorrah, from Yah out of heaven, and he overthrew, he demolished, he ended those cities, and the entire valley, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and whatever grew on the ground. But Lot's wife, from behind, foolishly and longingly looked back towards Sodom in an act of disobedience, and she became a pillar of salt. Abraham started out early the next morning to the place where he, only the day before, had stood before the master, and he looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the valley of the Dead Sea. The smoke of the land went up like a smoke of kiln, pottery furnace. Now when the Most High ravaged and destroyed the cities of the plains of Siddim, he remembered Abraham, and for that reason he sent Abraham's nephew Lot out of the midst of destruction when he destroyed the cities which Lot had lived. Now Lot went up from Zoar and lived in the mountains together with his two daughters, for he was afraid to stay any longer in Zoar, and he lived in a cave with his two daughters. The firstborn daughter of the younger said,
"Our father is aging. There is not a man on earth available to be intimate with us in the customary way so that we may have children. Come, let us make our father drunk with wine, and we will lie with him so that we may preserve our family through our father."
So they gave their father wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father. He did not know when she had laid down or when she got up, because he was completely intoxicated. Then the next day, the firstborn said to the younger,
"Behold, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drunk with wine tonight also, and then you may go in and lie with him, so that we may preserve our family through our father."
So they gave their father wine that night also, and the younger got up and lay with him. And again, he did not know when she had laid or when she had got up. Thus both the daughters of Lot conceived by their father. The firstborn gave birth to a son and named him Moab, which means from father. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. The younger also gave birth to a son and named him Ben-Ami, which means son of the people. He is the father of the Ammonites to this day. Genesis chapter 20. Abraham and Abimelech. Now Abraham journeyed from there toward Negev, the south country, and settled between Kadesh and Shur. Then he lived temporarily in Gerar. Abraham said again of Sarah his wife,
She is my sister.
So Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah into his harem. But the Most High came to Abimelech in a dream during that night and said,
Behold, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken as your wife, for she is another man's wife.
Now Abimelech had not yet come into her. So he said, Master, will you kill a people who are righteous and innocent and blameless regarding Sarah? Did Abraham not tell me that she is his sister? And she herself said, he is my brother? In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands, I have done this. Then the Most High said to him in his dream,
Yes, I know you did this in the integrity of your heart, for it was I who kept you back and spared you from sinning against me. Therefore, I did not give you up an opportunity to touch her. But if you do not return her to him, know that you will surely die, you and all of your household.
So Abimelech got up early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things, and the men were terrified. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, Why have you done this to us? And how have I offended you that you have brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? Have you done to me what I ought not to be done to anyone?" And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What have you encountered or seen in us or our customs that you have done this unjust thing?" And Abraham said,
"Because I thought, surely there is no fear or reverence of Elohim in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she is actually my half-sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not of my mother, and she became my wife. But the Most High caused me to wander from my father's house. I said to her, this kindness and loyalty you can show me. At every place we stop, say of me, he is my brother."
Then Abimelech took sheep and oxen and male and female slaves and gave them to Abraham and returned Sarah his wife to him as the Most High had commanded. So Abimelech said, "Behold, my land is before you. Settle wherever you please." Then to Sarah he said, "Look, I have given this brother of yours 1,000 pieces of silver. It is to compensate you for all that has happened and to vindicate your honor before all who are with you. Before all men, you are cleared and compensated." So Abraham prayed to the Most High, and the Most High healed Abimelech and his wife and his maids, and they again gave birth to children. For the Most High had securely closed the wombs of all the women in Abimelech's household because of Sarah, Abraham's wife.